All right, thanks, guys. Western Kentucky takes on Western Michigan, and that's going to be the First Responders Bowl, 12:30 Eastern kickoff in that game. The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky, they are the 3.5-point favorite, total at 54. We saw a half a point move toward Western Kentucky and movement upward on the total. The Hilltoppers open as the 3-point favorite, up to minus 3.5. Total open 53.5, up to 54. 52% are leaning Western Michigan, 66% shaded toward the over. And right now, the Broncos of Western Michigan are plus $1.50 on the money line. Now, if you like the Broncos in this matchup here, just keep in mind they've played 7 games away from home this year. They've been victorious in just 2 of them. They're also just 1-6 against the spread in their 7 games away from home. They failed to cover against the likes of Northern Illinois, Ball State, and Toledo this year. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky finishing the season red hot, winners of their last 3 straight, 7-2 straight up in their last 9. They have marquee outright victories over the likes of Army, Old Dominion, UAB, and Arkansas. Now, Western Kentucky ranks in the top 25 in offensive time of possession in the country. They're also in the top 25 in points allowed. D'Angelo Malone, 11.5 sacks on the year, 91 tackles, and 1 defensive touchdown. Now, Jawan Jones, 6 sacks on the year. That's, once again, Jawan Jones, 6 sacks on the year, 54 tackles. This Western Kentucky squad ranks in the top 10 in points allowed on the road, top 5 in pass yards allowed on the road as well. Kyle Bailey and Antoine Kincaid, 2 interceptions apiece in this Western Kentucky secondary. This Hilltopper squad, they rank in the top 20 in defensive time of possession on the road as well. Now, the Hilltoppers are 5-4 to the under in their last 9. No real surprises there, as they have that very stout defense. Meanwhile, Western Michigan on the other side, 70% to the under in their last 10. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Western Kentucky minus 3 and the under 54 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Monday's college football action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. We went 2-1 in our NFL picks on that site yesterday. We're currently hitting at 67% our last 10 NFL package plays on that site. And we are hitting at 61% for the entire college football season on that site as well. If you want to check out my current record, or if you want to sign up, we have wildcard playoffs starting. We got a slew of bowl games still remaining. Guys, we got a membership, a tier, a package for you. And you can check out my current record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. My record's right on the homepage. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And my next game is going to be Mississippi State taking on Louisville. 4 o'clock Eastern kickoff at Nissan Stadium. And of course, that is the good old-fashioned Music City Bowl. Now, Mississippi State, they are the 5-point favorite, total at 63. We saw a half a point move toward the Bulldogs and movement upward on the total. Mississippi State opened 4.5 up to minus 5. Total opened 62 up to 63. 53% are actually leaning toward Louisville, 60% shaded toward the over. And right now, Louisville's plus $1.70 on the money line. Now, if you like the Cardinals in this matchup here, just keep in mind, they kind of crawled across the finish line to end the season. Losers in 2 out of their last 4. They lost to Kentucky and Miami, Florida this year. They gave up 45 points and 52 points, respectively, in those losses. They rank 111th in points allowed, 115th in rush yards allowed. They also failed to cover this year over the likes of Boston College and Florida State. Now, Louisville ranks 80th in pass yards allowed, 110th in yards allowed per play. Meanwhile, Mississippi State, on the other side, they rank in the top 20 in rushing, top 25 in offensive time of possession, 3-1 straight up in their last 4. They successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of those 4 games. Kylan Hill, he's rushed for over 1,300 yards on the year, 10 touchdowns on the ground. He's averaging 5.7 yards per carry. He could potentially have a huge game today. And Nick Gibson, the other running back, 5 rushing touchdowns on the year for him. Now, total-wise, Louisville 4-0 to the over in their last 4, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. This could potentially be a fun one, kind of like basketball and turf. I'm going to go ahead and lean Mississippi State -5 and the over 63 in that contest. Next game, Cal taking on Illinois, 4 o'clock Eastern kickoff, at Levi Stadium. Almost pretty much a home game for the Cal Golden Bears, but this is the official Redbox Bowl. So anyway, Cal, the Golden Bears, they are the 6.5-point favorite, total at 44. We saw a 0.5 point move toward the Golden Bears and movement upward on the total. Cal open as the 6-point favorite, up to 6.5. Total open 43, up to 44. 56% are leaning Golden Bears, 61% shaded toward the over. Right now, Illinois is plus 210 on the money line. Illinois is also 0-2 straight up in their last couple of games. They finished the year losing outright to Northwestern and Iowa, and they scored just 20 combined points in those 2 games. So essentially just 10 points respectively in each of those games. They rank 110th in passing, 90th in rushing. They're just 6-6 straight up overall, so a loss in this game could put them under 500. They also have outright losses to Nebraska and Eastern Michigan this year. They rank 110th in rush yards allowed, 128th in defensive time of possession. They gave up 29 points to Northwestern, 34 to Michigan State, and 42 points to Nebraska. Now Cal on the other side, 3-1 straight up in their last 4 to finish the season. Outright victories over UCLA, Stanford, and Washington State. They held their opponents to just 19 points per contest in those 3 victories, which is no small task, especially having Washington State in the mix there, who can, put up 50 to 60 a game. Now this Cal defense, they rank in the top 35 in points allowed. They're also in the top 25 in rush yards allowed. Cameron Good, 8.5 sacks, 51 tackles. Evan Weaver, 172 tackles on the year, which is just unbelievable. He also has 2.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and 3 forced fumbles. The Golden Bears, they also rank in the top 20 in points allowed on the road, top 45 in yards allowed per play. Jalen Hawkins, 2 interceptions for him as well. And when it comes to, now keep in mind, Ashton Davis has been ruled out for this game. He's another big-time player for this Cal secondary. But regardless, Cal is 8-4 to the under thus far in the year, 4-2 to the under as the official road team. Now, Illinois on the other side, they are also 8-4 to the under on the season, 5-1 to the under away from home. I'm going to lean Cal Golden Bears -6.5 and the under 44 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show. This should be a good one. This could potentially be a competitive matchup. I'm talking about the Florida Gators taking on the Virginia Cavaliers, 8 o'clock Eastern kickoff in the Orange Bowl. Pretty much a home game for Florida, the Gators here, as they are the 14.5-point favorite, total at 54 and a hook. We saw a 0.5 point move toward Florida and movement upward on the total. Gators open 14, up to 14.5. Total open 54, up to 54 and a hook. 54% are leaning Virginia, believe it or not, and 61% are shaded toward the over. Right now, the Cavaliers are plus 475 on the money line. Now, Virginia, not so great against the spread this year. They've covered just 40% of their games in their last 10. They failed to cover against the likes of Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida, and Old Dominion. They rank 80th in offensive yards per play, 112th in rushing. They're just 2-5 against the spread away from home, 3-4 straight up in those 7 games. They're also 58. They're ranking 58th in the country in points allowed, 63rd in yards allowed per play. Now the Gators on the other side, finishing out the season strong, winners of their last 3 straight. They went 10-2 overall for the year. This was a really, really good team. Their only losses came to Georgia and LSU, so really no shame there. They were in positions to win those games. Really, LSU kind of breaking ahead at the end of that game earlier in the year. But regardless, this Gator squad, they rank in the top 35 in points, top 20 in passing. Kyle Trask, he's thrown for over 2,600 yards on the year, 24 touchdown passes. The big tight end, Kyle Pitts, who's an Archbishop Wood guy. He's out of the Philadelphia region. But the big tight end, Kyle Pitts, 51 receptions on the year, 610 yards, and 5 touchdown catches. And wide receiver, Van Jefferson, 528 yards on the year, 6 touchdown receptions. He's averaging 12.3 yards per reception. Keep an eye on Swain, as he is listed as questionable for this evening's action. Now, Florida, they rank in the top 25 in yards per play. Meanwhile, defensively, they're awesome on the defensive side of the ball as well. They rank in the top 10 in points allowed, top 15 in rush yards allowed as well. John Greenard, 8.5 sacks, 49 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and a defensive touchdown this season. Zach Carter and Mahmoud Diabate, 4.5 sacks apiece, and linebacker David Reese. He is the team's leading tackler with 88 tackles on the season. Now, this Florida squad ranks in the top 20 in pass yards allowed, top 20 in yards allowed per play. Donovan Steiner, 4 picks on the year, 30 tackles, and of course Davis and Wilson have 3 interceptions apiece in this secondary. Now, Florida's 3-1 to the over on the road this year. UVA 9-4 to the over overall for the season. I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, take the Florida Gators -14, and the over 54.5 in that game.